Greetings, loved ones. Let's take a journey.
It's time for an Amanda Exclusivo.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Amanda Exclusivo. I'm your host, Amanda Geffner. I cannot be more excited about my guest today, you guys. He's here to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Goofy movie. Please welcome the original voice of Goofy, Bill Farmer.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on today. I gotta qualify that. I'm not the original voice, or I'd have to be about 110 years old. But I have been since 1987, so that seems like a lifetime.
We'll go with the original because you've been
Oh,
in
that's
for
very
a
kind.
long time. That's how I would word it, Bill.
Well, thank you. Thank you. No, Goofy's had a great, he was my favorite Disney character when I was a kid. I guess that's why I practiced the voice and that kind of thing and got lucky with the audition.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but congratulations on 30 years of a Goofy movie.
I
Can you
cannot
believe
believe
that?
this year has been totally nuts. I mean, we started last summer with probably the biggest event, singing at the the Hollywood Bowl, actually, with 17,500 people for 2 nights in a row. It was sold out. It was like nothing I've ever done in my life. It was scary, a little terrifying, and there are no take twos. So if you make a mistake, you make it in front of a lot of people. But we got through it. We
I've
got
been to
through it.
Hollywood Bowl. I know it. I know what you're talking about there.
Yeah, a lot of famous people have been on that stage, and I felt very lucky to be among them.
Well, you should. I mean, you are. Well, I have to start off by saying this. So, your voice has really become a household staple in so many people's homes, including mine, obviously. Your contagious laugh has made me smile throughout the years, and I'm sure everyone else can agree to that statement. So, tell me, when you've met fans like me before that have grown up with Goofy, what's that like for you? What does that feel like?
Oh, it's the best feeling in the world because just the fact that people care about this character and that it has made a difference in so many fans' lives, especially a Goofy movie. With all the time I have people come up, oh, I couldn't talk to my dad, and we watched that movie, and now it became our thing, and it just helped us out, and we have a much different relationship. That's you can't replace that. It's incredible,
And
incredible
Goofy
feeling.
is one of the best characters. I mean, he's on my shirt right now.
Oh my gosh. And Pluto, the other big voice that I do of the Fab
I
Five.
know. Well, we'll talk about Pluto. That's one of the fun facts I was going to share. Bill is also the voice of Pluto.
Right. I get to bark. So
You get to bark. But before we get into Goofy and all things Disney, I want to rewind a little bit. Okay. So tell me about your childhood and when did you realize that you were interested in voice acting?
it kind of you don't really plan this kind of a career. I grew up in a little town, South Central Kansas, Pratt, Kansas, 7,000 people, very Midwest farming community. And as a kid, I was just enamored with cartoons and movies. And I guess just kind of an escapism. And I loved, science fiction movies. And you can hear my dogs growling in the background. They're like fighting in the living room. So if we
Oh, I
hear
don't hear
that,
it at
they're
all.
having fun. Oh, okay. I can hear it over there. So yes,
I
Goofy
believe
has
you.
dogs. If they come over, I'll show them to you. And but I grew up in Kansas, and I just had a propensity for doing voices, and usually like movie stars and stuff like that I would do, and like John Wayne and Pat Buttram, and interesting voices that I just found fun to do. And in high school, people would put me up to doing jokes. Like when we drive through places like Burger King or McDonald's, they would say, order in a weird voice. And, I'd say, I'd like a scotch and soda. And my friends would laugh. And it was just kind of a joke thing. Never thought it would turn into a career. Well, long story short, I got a degree in broadcast journalism, kicked around in radio as a DJ for a number of years, finally
Wow.
wound up in Dallas, Texas. And in Dallas, I'd gotten out of radio. There wasn't any money in it at the time, and I went to a comedy club. And I can tell you the date, March 17th of 1982. And
Wow. Oh,
saw that they were doing, anyone could get up and do 5 minutes that wanted to try. And so I signed up for the next week, went back, and I got a pretty good response. And so I started going to the comedy club every week and learned how to do comedy. And before too very long, within a year, I started doing stand-up comedy throughout Texas and the South. And over the next 5 years, rose to the level of just starting to be a headliner. And on the advice of an agent, they said, well, you do all these voices and stuff. Why don't you go out to Hollywood and see what happens? I did. And about 5 months after getting here in California, my agent said, do you do any of the Disney characters? And I said, well, I can kind of do Mickey. My Donald's not that good, but Goofy's my favorite. And out of about 1,100 people that tried out, they liked
wow.
mine. And, I had no idea how many people I was up against until years later. Probably wouldn't have tried had I known. I thought, oh, I'll never get that. But you never know if you don't try what you're capable of. And who knows, that started on a career that is still to this day an individual. I'm an independent contractor. I'm not a Disney employee. I've not under a long-term contract with Disney. Every job is still, to this date, a new contract. That's the way it is in animation. And so I've just been very lucky, and 38 years and about 3,500 performances later, they're still using me. So I'm very lucky.
No, and as I said, you are a Disney legend. And it is just such an honor to be here talking to you, which I am still in shock. I usually keep my cool during interviews.
Gosh,
I,
I'll help you out there then.
oh my God. So, like I said, you've been the voice of Goofy for over 3 decades. Do you remember the very first audition, like you were saying?
Yeah, it was. You don't want to get your hopes up because I know there were a lot of people going to try out for that. But so I got a cassette tape of the original voice of Goofy, a guy named Pinto Colvig from the old 1930s cartoons. I practiced it over a weekend, went in, laid it down, and they called me about a month later and they said they'd like to try me on one show. And oh my gosh, I got this. But I didn't know if it'd be 2 times or 3 times, or I never expected it to be 38 years. And so it was a thing called Disney's Doggone Valentine. And I just replaced a line of dialogue from an old Goofy cartoon that they were using, and which I'd never done before. It was scary and everything, and I hoped I did okay. And about a month later, they called me back to do another one, and then another one, and another one. And before too many, years had gone by, we were doing a series, Goof Troop, which was my first
Yes.
series, and off and running. And it's been like that ever since. And I'm still doing it to this day. Got a couple of cartoons to do this coming week.
Oh my God. Are we allowed to know what's going on, or is it a
I
surprise?
can I can say now, sometimes they sign you to a non-disclosure agreement for upcoming
Mhm.
things, but Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Plus is on Disney Plus, and we started in 2006 doing Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and now we're doing it again with new episodes and songs and everything else. And we're in the middle of season 3 in recording. And what a lot of people don't know, when we record, we aren't looking at a picture. They haven't animated it yet. So it's just a script. And so we're recording, say, season 3, but season 1 is what's on TV now.
Wow. So you're in the booth by yourself and you don't see any, like no Goofy, no Mickey, Minnie, nothing. Just you're
Right.
there by yourself having a
Yeah.
full-blown conversation.
And that really got ensconced, I guess, when COVID was happening. Everyone was locked down. So I was doing a series called Amphibia at the time, and I would record here at my house. And my son had all the equipment because he's a drummer and also an audio engineer. And so he started becoming my engineer for the Disney shows. Everyone was on a Zoom call just like this. And we still do that mostly to this day, unless it's a special project, and I'll go to a studio to do that.
So for the Goofy movie, did you record in a studio? What was that like?
That one I did. I did that on the Disney lot in their big stage B where they do all the big movies there. And
Yeah.
yes, on that one, and especially in those days, we did it in the studio.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. So do they, for the Goofy movie, did they create the animation first and then add the voiceover? How did it work?
No, it's again the same way. It's easier if I say a joke, if I ad lib something and it's good and they want to put it in, if they'd already animated it, they couldn't do it because it's already set in stone. But if I haven't and they say, "Oh, that's funny, let's put that in," and then they can animate it. So it's first. We probably started recording a couple of years before it came out in 1995. So about 93 is when we started recording. And then we'd, do a scene, and if it worked, fine. If it didn't, they didn't use that. And over the course of a couple of years, they put this movie together.
Yeah, and now 30 years later, it is still one of the best movies in my opinion. As you could tell, I made my Halloween pumpkin a Goofy movie
Oh,
themed
I
this
love
year.
that pumpkin. There's my son Max. Yeah, that's great.
Well, it was only fitting, Bill. It was only fitting for me to do this. And I was like, you know what? Since I'm talking to him, let me whip up a little masterpiece before Halloween, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah. So what do you remember most about making the Goofy movie and working with Jason Marsden?
Well, Jason has become like a secondary son to me over the years. I saw him this last weekend at a Comic-Con in where was I? Little Rock, Arkansas, and we were sitting
Wow.
next to each other, and so I get to see him socially now quite often, many times a year, usually at Comic-Cons and events like that. But with the advent of a Goofy movie, the 30th anniversary, we've been doing a lot of things together. The Disney cruise ship. We've been singing on stage at events and Comic Cons, and yeah, it's been nuts. But he is like my secondary son.
He definitely is. And so I also want to talk about the documentary that you guys just did together,
Yeah.
not just a goof. So, what was it like reuniting with him for that? Tell us about it.
Well, that's all. Kevin Lima, who was the director of A Goofy Movie, had kept all of these VHS tapes with footage from the creation of the movie. I don't think Disney even had all of that footage. I didn't know they were filming me at the time. They were filming me
Oh,
from the control booth. I don't remember them filming me, but they were. And so I'm seeing this footage, and wow, okay, that's 30 years ago. Wow. I was young then. And but I learned a lot about the making of that movie that I didn't even wasn't privy to, what goes on behind the scenes. I generally come in, I do my lines, and I go home. Then the creative people get to go through all the behind the scenes stuff and find out, okay, let's do this with the movie, and then we'll do that scene and not this one, and this we like, that we don't like, and but I had no idea of all that stuff. I just knew that, well, I've been recording it and they seem to like it so far. And that was good enough for me.
no, and it looked like it was fun, a good old goofy road trip, right?
It was fun. It was fun. And we probably had about 40 some days of recording over that 2 year period. So we did a lot of scenes that didn't make it in the movie and a lot of other ones that did. And it wasn't until I think it was the 20th anniversary where we got Tevin Campbell on stage to sing Eye to Eye, and I sang Nobody Else But You with Jason Marsden, or did we do The Open Road? I can't remember. But we sang a song in front of a crowd down at near Disneyland at the D23 event, and it was just the response was just amazing. Then 20 years after it came out, I knew, wow, this still has staying power. And even more now, like in April, it became number 1 on Disney Plus. Not just a goof, the documentary became number 2 on Disney
I
Plus.
know.
What movies that are 30 years old do that? I can't imagine it, but it's been the fan base just has grown exponentially and people love that movie. And it's the number 1 thing that people talk to me about at Comic Cons and stuff. they bring up how important that movie was to them and the relationship between Max and Goofy.
Yeah, no, it really it takes you on a road trip and you really just get to learn about the bond a father has with their son. And that's what I really love about a Goofy movie. But what else I love is the songs in a Goofy movie. So
Which one? Which one?
I love the one where it's "Oh, give me a home," that one. I was wondering
Uh-huh.
maybe you could give me a little sample.
Well, the main one, they on the open road, do you need a break from modern living? You know, like that. That's what we had to do at the Hollywood Bowl. And that was what was terrifying is to go out there in front of all of these people on stage with a live orchestra and sing that and hopefully not mess up the lines. But we got through it okay.
You still remember the words to this day, and that's all that
Oh,
matters.
yes. I've got to sing it several times in the last few months. And so, yes, I do remember that.
Well, I don't blame you. I wouldn't forget it either. So do you have a before you when you're in the booth, do you have like a warm-up routine before you get into the voice of Goofy? It seems like you could just do it, no problem.
In the beginning, before I really knew the character, yeah, I would listen to some old cartoons to kind of get not as much the voice. The voice was kind of there, but there's little idiosyncrasies that Goofy has that we add to the voice. It's different than, say, Mickey Mouse or Donald, because that's what is almost like a trick voice. Because if you can do that falsetto, and you're way up here and you're doing like Mickey, you're
Yeah.
almost in the ballpark with that. But gosh, Goofy's got ups and downs, and it's more of a cadence type of character. It's a musicality in his voice. And I would listen for that, but after about 15 years of doing that, yeah, I had it down. And so now I live with Goofy in there all the time.
You could go from Bill to Goofy in less than a second.
Right, right. It's yeah, after a few hundred times of doing it, yes, you get used to it.
So as I said in the introduction, Goofy's laugh is one of the most iconic laughs, not just in Disney history, but in the world, honestly, I would say. So how do you keep it fresh after all these years?
Well, I always do that live. I thought that they would like record it and have a library of laughs and then I wouldn't have to do it anymore. But no, on every cartoon, it's like a laugh. And I have to kind of time it. So if he's tripping on something like, whoa, whoa, wow, wow, wow. And so I just kind of play the scene in my head, I guess, and kind of go along with it. And that kind of determines the length. Or if he's falling off of a mountain, it would be a longer laugh or yell than it would be if he just tripped over a chair. So it depends on what the scene is. It's all about the acting and the scene. And if you can play that in your head and kind of put the words in along with that, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, that would take me some time to master too. I don't know how you do it, but I love it every time.
Well, it's kind of interesting because some of the things, we have a game called Kingdom Hearts that is
Yes.
very popular, and that was kind of breaks a lot of the rules because it was done in Japan first. And Disney has actors all around the world that'll do our characters. They in about 50 some languages. They'd have to find a Mickey in, Japanese and Russian and Spanish and French and Italian, everything. So they have all of these people that do these voices. And so I'm listening to the Japanese Goofy in my headphones because it
Wow.
was done first in Japan, and that one I can see the show. And but the Japanese seems to be a little faster than English, so I've got to have to hurry my speech up a little bit faster. And instead of "Come on, Sora, let's go," I might have to go, "Come on, Sora, let's go." I might have to do a little bit faster, and I am watching the picture then, trying to put the words in the character's mouth. And that's a whole different ball game, and it's a technique that you gotta work on pretty hard, and it takes a long time to do it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, I can't imagine because I obviously have never done voiceover work, but listening to you, it's really cool to learn about that. So I also want to talk about this. I'm sure that our viewers would be surprised to know that you've also been voices for other animated characters over the years.
Oh
I was
yeah.
wondering perhaps if you could give us some samples on who you've been.
Well, probably what a lot of people don't understand or know that I'm not a Disney employee, so I can work for any of the studios. And probably one of the more, famous characters or famous characters that I got to do was in the movie Space Jam, which came
Yes.
out around the same time as a Goofy movie a couple of years later. And I got to do Foghorn Leghorn, Sylvester the Cat, Yosemite Sam. In an episode of Robot Chicken, I did Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, and got to meet Mel Blanc when I worked on my very first movie, which was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I didn't even do Goofy in that, but I did some background voices. And of course, I had to do a rap against Elmer Fudd. That was interesting. So, so we had to, yeah, rap as, oh, brother, ain't I a stinker? That boy's about as sharp as a bowling ball, Oz hate rabbits, So get to do a lot of different characters. And it's just kind of my thing. And it turned into a career. It was just a hobby and a lot of fun to do for my friends and kind of took off.
Yeah. No, you mentioned the Looney Tunes. I love Sylvester. I was wondering if you could give me a little Sylvester.
Yeah, I can do that on a Zoom because I'm not spitting on everybody. It's like different fuckatage. They're monsters, was the line that I did in the movie. And that was a big thrill for me because Mel Blanc was probably my number one idol when I was a kid because he's the only person that did cartoons that I knew his name because they always put that, voice characterizations by Mel Blanc and got to meet him, and that was exciting thing for me.
What was
So
that like meeting him?
it's like meeting your idol, it's like meeting whatever big movie star or celebrity that you just really idolize. And that was just, oh my gosh, I got him to sign my book to me and Goofy from Mel Blanc, and I cherished that. And in those days, there were just a few people that were kind of did everything in animation. Now there are so many people that are doing it in video games and all the television series and stuff that it's kind of, even though there's a lot of people that do so many different characters, that they're well known and they're celebrities and they're all my friends because I've worked with them over the years. So you get this group of friends that has the same job as you, and that's kind of cool.
It is cool. And speaking of cool, we mentioned this earlier. You're also the voice of Pluto. So how is it
Yeah.
different voicing Pluto versus Goofy since one speaks and the other doesn't?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the nice thing is Pluto can speak in all languages. So German, woo, French, woo, Japanese, woo, Um, I don't have to worry about dialogue, but that's rougher on your throat. So if I have to do a lot of barking in a particular cartoon, we always save Pluto for last. We'll do all the Goofy lines, then we'll go back through and get any Pluto barking. So if at the end I kind of mess up my throat, and I sound kind of like that, and gorge, I can't do it anymore.
I see
I
what you
don't
mean
mess
now.
up. I get all the Goofy stuff first and then Pluto.
And then you start barking.
Then I bark my way to a paycheck.
So of your voices, which one is the most difficult that you do?
Oh gosh. Physically, I guess probably Yosemite Sam is tough. I can only do that for a few minutes, and I would really, even Mel Blanc didn't like to do that one and didn't even do it in Roger Rabbit. It's too rough on the vocal cords. It's yelling and it's very gritty and gravelly, and those kind of voices are tough. But, you get used to it, and so it doesn't really mess up my throat too much. But yeah, probably Yosemite Sam would be a tough one, or any kind of a gravelly voice like that. If you do it a lot, it kind of you can start coughing and you need water and stuff like that. But video games are kind of like that because like video games, they always save for the last day screams and stuff. I can't even remember what the game was, but it was like aliens versus the army guys. And so I was an army guy and I had to do screaming and stuff. And they came to me and said, okay, now the alien has ripped your arm off and he's beating you with it. Now, what does that sound like? And it's just really yelling. And if you do that for about an hour, it can really hurt your throat. So you got to really watch it, especially on video games where they do a lot of that fighting stuff.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh no, for sure. I mean, I don't know what I would do to warm up besides hydrate and try not to talk.
That's about it. Yeah, you just try not to go 100%, maybe 95%. You push it too hard and you can kind of damage your vocal cords. And I've known people that have had bleeding vocal cords after a particularly bad session. So in the early days, now they have more laws that they can say you can kind of say, hey, let's call it on this. My throat's about ready to go. And you
Oh
can
my
tell when you pushed it too far.
Oh my God. Well, now it makes sense to me that you do all the goofy work first and then Pluto. I see
Yeah,
what
I
you
don't want to
mean
hurt
now.
Goofy.
I see what you mean. But I want to ask you something. I'm sure people ask you this all the time, but what kind of dog is Goofy and what kind of dog is Pluto?
Well, Pluto originally he's older than Goofy, actually, 1930. And he was in a cartoon where he was a part of a pair of, I think, bloodhounds.
Oh,
And he kind of evolved from that. So I guess he's a bloodhound. Goofy is not technically a dog. They gave me like the little, Disney Bible of, they say Goofy is not a dog. His first name was Dippy Dog, but it was Dawg. So it's kind of like, how a wolf is not a dog, but it's a canine.
yeah.
So he's dog-like, but he's also people-like or man-like.
Yeah.
He might be. He's a mog. He's a man dog. You know,
Mog.
he's a
I love
mog.
that. He's a Mog, hot Mog instead of hot dog. So also too, I know Goofy's single. How come he never got married?
Well, actually, in some of the cartoons in the 1970s and late 60s, he was married in a series of cartoons, but you never saw who the face of the wife or just kind of a hand pointing it. And they actually changed his name. He kind of changed a lot. His name was George Geef in
Mm,
those days in a series of cartoons. And he could be like an everyman. He could be like they show at like if you take a driving course, sometimes they'll show a couple of old cartoons that they did, The Beauty of Driving, and then it shows
yeah.
Goofy's driving as a good driver and a bad driver, how you can tell the difference. And some of those cartoons had a wife and a son, too. There was a Goofy Jr., which is, I guess, where Max came from. But we don't know who his wife is. They never had a storyline for that.
It's such a
So,
mystery to me because I'm like, who is Max's mom?
yeah, we don't know. We know she's implied, but gosh, maybe I dropped her off at the mall and I just forgot to pick her up about 20 years ago. Who knows?
It's
It's
always
open
been
to
a thought.
speculation.
Because every year when I watch Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, Twice Upon a Christmas, I always see those moments where Max is with his girlfriend, and I'm like, where's Goofy's
Yeah.
girlfriend?
Well, a lot of, if you think like Bambi, Bambi lost his mother,
Yeah,
and there's a lot of characters in Disney movies that don't have one or more of the parents. So in Goofy's case, we don't know what happened to his mom. She might have gotten tired of being married to Goofy.
she might have. Who knows?
He's just left.
But Goofy's the best. Who wouldn't want to be with
Yeah,
Goofy? And I know
that's that's
I'm
true.
sure he's your favorite.
Definitely,
He
definitely.
is. Well, I also want to know too, because you have so many fans around the world, Bill, including me. Seriously. So what has been some of your like funniest fan interactions? Have you received any special gifts from fans?
Oh yeah. People at Comic Cons bring me all times drawings of Goofy and sometimes little statues. And now I've had some 3D printed Goofies that people have done at home and bring it
Wow.
to me as little gifts, which are just great. And probably the strangest thing actually happened this year.
Oh,
Uh,
do tell.
where was I? I was in Orlando actually, and we were at a Comic Con there in Orlando, Florida. And I came back to the hotel, and this girl came up to me. Was I was getting near the elevator, and she, "Oh, Mr. Farmer, you took a picture with me earlier today, and my sister is a really big fan, and would you take a picture with her? You know, a little selfie." And I said, "Well, sure. Where is she?" "She's sitting over here." And she was over there, and but she was getting treated by the paramedics at the time. So they had the stretcher out there, and they were like, they had like a thing on her,
Oh
testing blood
my
or whatever, oxygen in
God.
her blood. I'm not sure exactly what it was. I didn't really want to ask, but I was
Yeah.
kind of worried. I said, "Is it okay to talk with her and everything?" And the paramedics were just winding up, and she's okay. Yeah, I think that'd make her happy. And yeah, so okay, I will. I don't want to get her too excited or anything and have a stroke or whatever. So I was a little nervous, but I sat down next to her and took a selfie with her. And that's the only time I've ever taken a picture with a fan who was being treated by paramedics at the time.
Oh my
That's
God.
weird.
Well, it'll be an experience you'll never forget.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to beat, I think. That was
Oh
strange.
yeah. I mean, that is going to be tough. But what other gifts have you gotten from fans that stand out to you?
Like I say, someone at one of the Comic Cons brought me a lightsaber.
Oh,
So, Darth Goofy, I guess. I don't know.
may the force be with Goof.
Yeah, and it's a nice one. They're not cheap, and it makes the noise, and lights up and everything, and and then it'll go in. It's amazing, amazing gift. But you get some interesting in hats. I've had people knit hats for me before with the ears and everything. And yeah, they're, articles of clothing and all sorts of things you get. It's the fans are just great.
Am I your
And
first pumpkin?
I think that is, yeah, that's a
Oh, I'm
beautiful.
so happy. That makes me
That
feel so
is my
good.
first pumpkin. So yes.
I would love to send it to you, but
I
I'll
don't
send
know,
you
but
a
it
picture.
might be heavy there. Yeah, but
Yeah, it might be heavy,
it's
but I'll
beautiful. I got this. A nice picture of it is great.
okay, I'll send it to you.
Please.
I definitely will. But you've been a part of the Disney family for decades, so I can only imagine how much Disney merch you have throughout the years. So, what do you have in your collection, and what's the most meaningful item that you have?
Gosh, that's difficult. I have a lot of
I'm
paintings,
sure.
a lot of artwork. Like I say, the fan things are very meaningful to me. That they take the time and the effort to put something together. And I was looking around to see if I have anything that is. I have Halloween stuff all over my table right here, but I don't think I have any goofy stuff right here. But no, I have a. No, that's a backdrop that I'll be putting up here. So, it's like for Halloween, and we have a big party at the house. So I have spiders and you know, big spiders. So it is Halloween
Oh,
time. So
well, we love Halloween. I love Halloween too.
I think
So,
that's a little Disney character that's like
oh, look at that.
from Hunchback, which was a movie that I did some voices in. And you never know. Not all of them have Goofy, but there's a lot of interesting voices I've had a chance to do.
Well, would you want to tell us some of those exciting ones?
Oh gosh, probably the most obscure one that no one would ever pick out because it's not in the credits is there's a technique called ADR, additional dialogue recording. It's where little incidental characters in the background of a movie that need something to say, we actually do watch the movie then and add voices to that. And oh, if I go back, one of the first classics that I did was like Beauty and the Beast. And I did a lot of the characters that were attacking the castle at the end, kill the beast and stuff
Oh,
like
you
that.
were one of those people,
I was
killed the
one of
beast?
those. And also,
No.
this is so obscure though. In the scene where Gaston is singing about decorating with antlers and he's doing that song, he takes three eggs up and throws them up in the air and they go, and that's me. I did that. I'm eggs.
Really?
Oh
Get
my
out of
God.
here.
Yeah, and some of the time the group of actors, usually 10, 12 actors that'll add all of these little incidental voices. We were doing Shrek 2, and several of us, they wanted an announcer. And I didn't know until I saw the movie that they'd picked me. My son said, "Hey, Dad, that's you." And I said, they were having a thing at the ball at the castle toward the end, and I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Princess Fiona and Prince Shrek." And my son goes, "Hey, Dad, that was you." And I go, "Yeah, I guess it was. I didn't even remember doing that." And so, but several of us did that. But until we saw the movie, we had no idea who got to actually do it in the final film.
I can't get over the Beauty and the Beast though. I had no idea that was you because that is like one of my favorite Disney movies. As you can see, the Bell evidence right here.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course all of them, are friends, Belle and, Ariel and you meet all these people and you do shows. I got to sing with them on the stage at the
Oh my
Hollywood
God.
Bowl and at Wolf Trap outside of Washington, D.C. and on the Disney cruise ship and in Orlando at a D23 event. And I'm going on another cruise in about a month. So for a goofy movie thing. This year has been absolutely amazing as far as the love that people have for a goofy movie. And here I'm going to be celebrating I can say it. I'm an old man now. I'll be 73 in about 3 weeks, and I'm going to be in Orlando for that. And they're throwing a party, and then we're going to go on a new cruise ship. So I thought I'd be retired and just sitting around watching TV at the house, but no, they keep calling me, and I'm going to do it as long as they keep calling.
I love that. Well, everyone loves you, Bill. And I'm so excited that I really got the chance to talk to you. Like, you are such a Disney legend, and it must be so cool to be friends with Disney legends like Jodie Benson, Jim Cummings. The list goes on. That's like my whole childhood and such a dream come true. So the
Oh,
fact that I'm
well,
talking to you right now, it's like a pinch me moment. It
oh,
really is.
well, that's very, very kind. No, it is. I was very lucky with an audition way back when, and with a great character. There are really no characters like the Disney characters, if you think about it, because Walt Disney did the voice of Mickey first, and like Steamboat Willie way back, I think 1928. And he's still on TV every day. There's no other characters like that. So I got into a very elite group of characters, and Goofy was my favorite growing up. So that made it even better because I got my favorite one.
You won the lottery, basically. You really did. So, how much do you have in common with Goofy? I know the love you have for him is just so high.
Well, I always blame every stupid thing that I do on Goofy. I'll say that's the Goofy curse. And if I can tell a story I've told before, and it's absolutely true, but it had to be the Goofy curse. I was putting up Christmas lights a few years ago, and I stepped down off the ladder, and I had sweats on and a sweatshirt because it was pretty cold outside. And I backed up, and my foot hit a riser from our sprinkler system, and I fell backwards into a rose bush.
Oh my
Now,
God.
that alone would be goofy enough, but the first rose bush grabbed my pants and yanked them down, and I fell bare butted into the second rose bush. That's the goofy curse. It's not only painful, it's funny.
So you just blame Goofy if he did
I
something wrong.
blame Goofy. That's it. Well, okay, that's the goofy curse.
You always got to find someone to blame if something goes wrong. You don't want to blame yourself
Yeah,
for it.
no, I got Goofy.
Oh, I totally, I totally get it. We do that to one person in my family too, but now maybe I should start blaming Goofy. Every
Yeah, yeah.
the Goofy curse. Hopefully, you can pass that on to all of your fans.
Maybe so. My wife says, "Oh, I've been goofy long before Disney paid me." So,
But Bill, what else do you have coming up? What's going on with the Goofy
gosh.
movie festivities?
Well, there are some things. I'm usually signed to like an NDA that I can't talk about them beforehand. So, but since Disney has already announced, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Plus, I can talk about that. And there are things all the time. There are just toys. I was at Home Depot and they have a Goofy that's out for Christmas this year. I didn't even remember doing it, and I did about 6 months ago. And I'm singing and telling little stories and stuff. It's an animated Goofy. It's about 3 feet high, and I've got one on order because I didn't even know it was there out until I was at the store. And so there's toys, there are games, there are a lot of stuff coming out, but it's something new about every week, it seems like.
Well, I can't wait to see any Goofy merch you have. Please feel free to send it my way. I love Goofy.
Will do, will do.
But before I let you go, Bill, I was wondering if we could play a quick game. I do this with all of my guests. It's called the speed round, okay? So I'm going to ask you as many questions as I can
Oh
about
my,
you. Don't worry, within 1 minute. Someone that I had on my channel answered 22 questions in 1 minute.
wow, 22. Okay.
Yeah. So I'd like to see if you could beat my friend Giacomo here.
Okay, that's gonna be tough.
Don't worry, they're mostly like fun this or that questions. So we'll tag team. We'll work together here. But let me know when you're ready, Bill, and I'm going to start the timer.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, Bill, the timer is going to start now. Disney World or Disneyland?
Disneyland.
Your favorite ride at Disney?
At Disney, oh gosh, Pirates.
Me
Pirates of the
too.
Caribbean.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Tie or bow tie?
Bow tie.
Your favorite holiday?
Halloween.
Is Goofy really a dog?
Kinda. Pluto is.
Mickey Waffle or Mickey Pretzel?
Oh, Mickey Waffle.
Your favorite hobby?
Hobby is watching TV, I guess.
Eat in or go out?
Go out.
Your favorite Disney song?
Favorite The Open Road.
How do you like your eggs?
I Over easy.
What's your nickname?
Goofy.
The time's up. You did really well though. You got 12.
That's great. That's
That's
great.
good.
That's
You
interesting.
you mentioned Open Road is your favorite song.
Yes.
I gotta ask on behalf of the fans if you could give us just a little sample.
Okay. I did a little bit earlier. I'll see if I can remember the other lyrics. Do you need a break from modern living? Do you long to shed your weary load? If your nerves are raw and your brain is fried, just grab a friend and take a ride together up on the open road. Come on, Maxie.
I love it. I love it. Seriously. Bill, I can't thank you enough for coming on. This has just been such a dream for me to talk to you.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much.